harder to keep your control when you're coming down. Because you're trying to do two things at once. You're trying to release the bend, but you're still bending the string. So you've got to let the string down while still pushing it up. Otherwise you go... Instead of that you go... The string wants to come down too far, doesn't it? So messing around with that is good for you, and sort of one moment, the best thing in the world, I think, this is where it starts to get trickier, is chromatic scale. How in tune can you bend several notes of a chromatic scale? How similar can you make that sound to? Of course, the real test is to pick every one of those. So, experimenting with stuff like that, and just being honest with yourself. How in tune does this sound? Would I pay to hear somebody else do this? That last one was borderline. You probably wouldn't pay to hear that.
Did you exercise this by ear, or did you use tuner or something?
It's a lot easier actually if you've got... So, you might enjoy that. Just concoct an exercise that's on the verge of what you consider possible, and just really home in on the tuning of it. I think the main problem people have with that is the temptation to let the note fall down once you start wobbling. I think what you're actually doing there, you bend the note up to pitch, and then when you start wobbling, I think what you're doing is bending slightly sharp, and then doing this rocking motion with your hand. If you just leave the bend where it was and start rocking, it will sound as if it's going flat. But that kind of thing, if you want to keep it sounding in tune, yeah, just overcompensate slightly, and then when you let the vibrato motion kick in, you should retain the semblance of pitch. Your ear can play tricks on you like this. I think if you add vibrato to a note that isn't bent, so how do we know really that that note is actually meant to be that? If you slow it down, it's, or if you zack wild, it's, but it's really not that note anymore. Our ear's going to forgive it and assume it's still that note, but with vibrato. I'm quite intrigued by the other way of adding vibrato, where it's a bit more vocal or a bit more violin-like, for anything that doesn't have frets. So, where it sounds a little sweeter, a little more Brian May, I think, rather than... if you kind of pre-bend the note just a little and then wobble it from there, then you have the freedom to go both up and down in pitch. Maybe we do need a chord there, you'll hear what I mean, a little bit more. So over that kind of thing. It's kind of the easy rock way to wobble a note. Sweeter way. next thing would be to try and work out how you can bring bends into your phrasing. So what can you do apart from just play a note and then bend it? So just thinking in terms of a short melody, maybe only 2 or 3, 4 at a push notes long. And seeing how many different places you can apply a bend where you would normally maybe hammer on or pick a new note.